Hey everyone, my name is Brianna Carmen. I'm the Senior Director of Campaigns and National Partnerships at Voto Latino Foundation. And Voto Latino Foundation is happy to have at our 13th annual Power Summit one of the most influential beauty experts on the internet. He was named a 30 under 30 by Forbes magazine and is known for blurring gender lines, has over 10 million followers. So please help me welcome Manny Gutierrez, also known as Manny MUA. So
Hi
Manny is
guys.
the founder. Hey, Manny is the founder of Lunar Beauty, a cosmetic line for men, women, and non-binary people. Hey, Manny, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This is so fun. I feel like I haven't
Uh,
done a lot of interviews, stuff like that. I mean, especially with everything going on in the last 2 years. So I'm excited to do this.
we're super excited to have you. I am not an interview person at all. I'm not a professional for this. So really just, want to chat today and learn a little bit more of how did this all start? How did you get into makeup?
Oh my gosh, so my makeup journey kind of started, well, when I was young, I was infatuated with seeing my mom glam before going to school. So
Yeah.
I would like go to her room and I'd watch her glam, and it was always just so fun to me because she'd go to work and she would like, put her best face forward. And it was always so fun for me to see her transform. And I've always been fascinated by it. But my makeup journey didn't start till like I had done drag a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is really fun, but I don't like wearing heels. That's those it hurts.
Los
Okay,
tacones.
I was like, I don't want to wear the wigs. I don't want to wear the nails, the heels. I love the makeup though. So the makeup is what really
Yeah.
stuck for me. And I absolutely loved just the idea of doing makeup and the aspect of transforming and just kind of putting on some concealer, just feeling more confident. I loved that.
Well, I used to joke about my mom. She would say we couldn't leave the house until she took her face off. So I
Right.
definitely, or until she put her face on,
Yeah,
excuse
oh,
me.
literally.
Either or, but totally
That's a
understand
Latina mom for real.
Latina moms.
They be
But
like that.
oh my gosh, no. Well, I also heard that you were actually planning on going to medical school. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so my passion when I was younger, like, I wanted to be a plastic surgeon. So that was, like,
Ooh.
and I was like, "I wanna be a plastic surgeon. I wanna be able to help people feel their most confident versions of themselves and just, like, kind of be able to help with that." So for me, I was in college, I have my BS in health science, and I was going into,
Mm-hmm.
like, the track of being in pre-med, like going to like a pre-med school or an actual medical school. And that's kind of when makeup found me, or I found makeup
Yeah.
really, was in that kind of transition phase in my life. And I was like, okay, but like, isn't makeup a little mini form of plastic surgery? Like in a way, like it's still being able to, help people feel like their most confident version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Having to get a nose job, like why don't we learn how to contour our noses so we don't have to go under the knife? So it was things like that that I was really fascinated by, where I was like, I think this is like a real big passion of mine. And like I loved school, don't get me wrong, and I loved science, but I felt like when makeup hit me, I was like, oh my God, I was hit by like thunder. It was so
Yeah.
like intense. Lightning, because thunder's the sound, but you know what I'm saying.
And it's so true what you say. Like, I love thinking about powerful women like Representative Ocasio-Cortez, where you see her and it's this big, bold red lip, and she's like,
Yes.
I'm here, I'm in this space, I mean business. So
Mhm.
that's what I love about makeup, and just, really excited to talk to you and see that you've been changing the dynamics of the field, right? You made history by becoming the first male to be the face of Maybelline. It wasn't too long ago where, makeup was just viewed as something for women, not something that, boys or men really played with or had
Mhm.
access to. And how were you able to, blur those gender lines and help just people feel comfortable in their skin?
So I think for me, so I was so obsessed with the idea that I just wanted to live authentically myself, especially like growing up in a really like religious household and things like that. I was like, I want to be me, right? And like for
Hmm.
me, makeup was like a form of my creative expression. And that's what was
Yeah.
so fun about it. I was like, well, I just enjoy doing it. It's like my art form. And I think that because there was no place for me back then, I was like, well, if there's not a place for me, then I have to like make it myself, you know?
That's awesome.
And so that's kind of what I did. Like, I think by living my most authentic self, I feel like I was helping people live their most authentic life in a way, because that's literally what people tell me, is that they're like, you just being yourself helps me be myself. And like following my passion helps people follow their passions. And that's all like ever really wanted. I just want people to be happy and feel confident and live in their own truth. And because there wasn't a place for me, I think it was important for me to like kind of find a place and like make it happen for myself.
Yeah, I feel that. And it's like when you are your authentic self, you give permission to people around you to be their authentic selves too. So
Exactly.
that's amazing to hear. And, you know, I saw that you started on Instagram, right? People would ask you to do certain things. Now you have 10 million plus followers, Instagram, YouTube. Can you tell us about, when YouTube started and all those tutorials that you do?
Yeah, so I had Instagram first, and I had hit, I would say, like 50,000 followers on Instagram.
Only,
Like
only.
7, right, but like 7 years ago, that was like a million. Like, it was just so, it was
I mean,
so much harder to grow back then, because there just
mhm.
wasn't as many like avenues. Like, it wasn't as popular, you know?
Yeah.
So back then I was getting asked like, can you please show us how you're doing the makeup that you're doing and that you're going to work with? And I was like, how do I show
Yeah.
you guys? And they're like, okay, well, like create a YouTube channel. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, well, maybe I can like I can like borrow my mom's camera and like sit in front of my closet and like upload a video, just like
Yeah.
show you guys, okay, this is my foundation face routine. It's the people were asking,
Hmm.
what they were asking is what I would do. So it kind of started because people on Instagram, like my followers on Instagram, were like, well, I want to learn how you're doing what you're doing. So can you please show us, essentially? And that's kind of
That's
how it
awesome.
started.
That's how the story began. And
Yes, yes. That's how the journey started.
oh my gosh. And so you have followers who are super excited and want you to show them how to wear makeup, live their best life. But how did your parents take it, about their son wearing makeup? Can you tell us about your upbringing and how those conversations came about?
Yeah, they were difficult conversations for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously growing up in a Latino household, there was always this like whole idea of like the machismo,
Mhm.
like, being like men have to be masculine and women not, and it was such like this like kind of like cookie cutter way of life. And so growing up in that situation, I also grew up LDS, which is Mormon, and that was its own struggle in a way, because I was like, I always thought like in my own head, I was like, well, being gay is bad. Like, it was never really
Oh,
talked about in church. So I was always just like kind of, keeping to myself. And so what happened was when I had my Instagram, I had blocked all my family and like
whoa.
church. So you couldn't actually access like my Manny MUA Instagram.
Your Insta was your Finsta.
It was my Finsta. It was like it was I had my regular one, and then I had my Finsta, which is now my real. Uh,
Hmm.
and I was like just blocking people so they couldn't see, because it was for me. It was like my own thing, and I wanted
Yeah.
to express my art the way I wanted to, and I didn't want to feel judged for it. And so that's why I had blocked all my family members and church members and stuff like that. I was like, I just want to do this for me and have fun and express myself in the way I want to. So when my parents found it, they were like, "What is happening?" And they were so confused, right? They were just like,
Hmm.
"Do you want to be a girl? Like, do you want to transition?" And so it just took a long time for us to kind of get to a spot where they understood where I was coming from, and that it
Yeah.
was my artistic freedom and it was my expression. And I was never a creative person in that way. I was always like, I played sports, I was really good at school, but I didn't really have that artistic outlet. I never played an instrument, never did, musicals, plays, none of that stuff. So this was my way of like being, expressing the artistic side that I had that I didn't really know I had. So it just took a long time for us to get there, because they didn't get it. Like, they were so
Mm.
confused, they didn't understand what it was. And I think it just took a lot of time for them to realize. And I would show them messages I would get from people, like from little gay kids. And I'm like, look, like I'm making a difference. Like, I'm doing something with my life.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they would see it and they'd be like, oh wow, like they were shocked that it was something like I was able to connect with people that I wasn't even by or next to, especially like being older parents, like they don't realize like the power of social media. Like, it doesn't need to be, you can make a connection with someone without it being in person,
Hmm.
So they were just like fascinated by it, but they were also very scared and concerned. They were like, well, what about med school? And I was like, well, what about it? I don't want to go. So they were like, what the
They're like,
fuck?
have you seen my face?
Yes, no, they were shook by it, because it's like, well, how are you going to go from like wanting to be a doctor to this. Like, it was such a huge difference because they
Yeah.
were like, "Well, how are you gonna make a successful career out of being a makeup artist?" And I was like, "I don't know, but I'll make it work." And I did, but
Yeah.
it just took a long time and a lot of communication between us to kind of get to a spot now. And now they're like literally my biggest advocates. They literally work with me on my brand Lunar Beauty full time.
I
And
love
like, I'm
that.
just like, so blessed and so lucky. But luckily, I always had like so much love in my household. And it just took a lot of communication and trying and effort. But that's kind of how we got to the spot now.
Well, it makes me super happy to hear that, you have a good relationship with your parents. And, I read somewhere that said you went into therapy at the age of 17. Like, I'm a huge proponent, advocate of therapy. I think everyone should go at least one time in their life. But still, right? It's like very hard and vulnerable for you to speak publicly about this. Like, what made you decide to speak out? And, what did therapy help teach you? Did it bring you some peace? What was that journey like?
Well, see, the thing is, when I went to therapy when I was 16, 17, it was a different kind of therapy. It wasn't therapy of like that people go to like normally. This is like a why are you gay therapy, right? So it
Was
was
it
like very confusing kind of therapy.
okay?
So, because my parents were like, because when they found out I was gay, they were like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know. What
Mhm.
are we gonna do? I have no idea." And so they were like, "Do you want to go to therapy? Do you want to do this, do this?" And I was like, "I'll go to therapy." I was very much a
Okay.
people pleaser kind of kid.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Yeah, I'll try it. Like, I'll do it. I don't want to be gay." So I'll go to this therapy. And they're like, "Okay." So I go to therapy for 6 months. I go into super dark depression. And I'm like, dude, I can't. Like, I'm not gay. Like,
Oh
I
my
can't just
gosh.
turn not gay?
Yeah, this
So
is who you are.
who I am. And so my parents were like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, therapy is not working. Like, I'm obviously still raging homo. So what am I supposed to do?" And so they were like, "Well, let's take you out of therapy," because they wanted me back, right? They wanted like their son that was happy, the normal go lucky person. They didn't want this
Mhm.
like shell of a human that was there.
Yeah.
So they pulled me out of therapy, and I'm so grateful because they were just like, "Well, we just want you to be happy, right? We want you to be happy no matter what." But I did go to like this like therapy for a while that was like very like your anxiety is what's making you gay. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Ew.
And I was like, what are you talking about? So that therapy was a different kind of therapy that I went to. And then I actually was like started to go to a real therapist, like from like my doctors, like recommended.
Uh-huh.
And that was different because that was a whole different situation in my life where I was like, dude, I just need to kind of unpack my own personal trauma, and I believe in therapy
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. And then I started going to therapy that was like, normal therapy. And I was like, let me get on some Prozac. Okay, let's fix some shit. And so that's kind of what I started doing. It's different for everyone, but it's all about like
Mhm.
finding your own path and finding what works for you. And that's what worked for me. So I finally
Yeah.
got into a rhythm where I was like, dude, this is great. Like, and I'm good and I'm happy now. And like, you get your tools and you learn these like cool things while going to therapy. And I'm a huge advocate for therapy and, always wanting to better yourself and better your mental health for not only yourself, but for the people around you too. So huge advocate.
Yeah, and, this might be a very personal question. It definitely is. So let me know if you feel comfortable answering it,
Mhm,
right? Like, a coming out story is a pivotal moment for a person from the LGBTQIA plus community.
mhm.
So what was your coming out like?
It was hard. It was really hard, especially like I was saying, growing up in Latino a Latino household, and
Latino situation.
in a situation, growing up in a Latino household, and growing up Mormon, it was like so my story kind of goes this way, right? So it goes, I was flirting with this guy on MySpace. And
Mhm.
I was like, but I didn't even realize I was flirting because I'm literally like 16 years old. I don't even know what's in my own head. I'm like over here suppressing for so long. So I'm asking
Yeah.
this kid, I'm like, well, what's it like to kiss a guy? Because I knew he was bi. So I was like, well, what's it like to kiss a boy? And like I'm asking these questions, not really realizing that I'm flirting, but I'm very
Mhm.
inquiring about what it's like, you
You're
know? I'm
curious.
curious. I'm like, wondering what it's like. So I leave the room. I was like, okay, whatever, conversation end. I leave. I come back. My parents are on the couch and they're crying. And I'm like, what? And I'm over here so
No.
shook. I'm like, what's wrong? And they're like, who's blank? He says his name that I was flirting with. And
And you're mortified.
I'm like, my friend. I didn't close the tab. I like minimized the tab on the
Oh,
computer. And so they
no.
had saw the
Oh,
messages
no.
and they're like, what's happening? And so
Yeah.
they were crying, I was crying. I was like, "Yes, I like guys." I think I'd never, like, even known, like, what being gay was. I didn't really have gay friends, like,
Mhm.
fully sheltered, you know? So I was like, I don't wanna be gay." And so that's kinda how the whole counseling thing came up because I didn't want to, like, live this, like, swimming against the stream life, if that makes sense. I was like,
Yeah.
"I don't wanna struggle." Like, I'm already, like, struggling enough. I'm 16, 17 years old. I'm already going through the gigs in high school. I don't wanna swim upstream too, you know? So I was very like, "Oh, if I can change it, I will." So
Mhm.
I tried this whole counseling to not be gay. Obviously didn't work. And so my parents were just like, again, very confused. They had no idea what being gay even was. They thought being gay was a choice, you know? And so I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. Like that's not how
It's
it is.
not a choice.
It's not a choice. And so, you know, they know that now, which is awesome. I'm so lucky to be able to have like help them in that way.
Mhm.
But it's just wild that that's kind of how the story was. Like that's how it was like, oh my God, more than 10 years ago now. And it
Wow.
all started from a little MySpace message and it just turned my whole world upside down.
Here we are.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a little bit crazy, right, for someone who says they didn't want to swim upstream, go against the norm, to be sitting right here where you are, and like your success and your story is based off of that, right?
Yeah.
Like following your passion and doing something different.
Yeah, no, literally. And I think is when I was 16, 17, my idea is like, I just want to fit in with the crowd. Right? Like that's all I wanted to do is because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a high schooler. Like I just want to like be one of the cool kids. But as I've gotten older, it's like your differences are actually your strengths. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh well, like what makes me uniquely myself is what's gonna keep perpetuating me forward. And so that's kind of what I kind of realized as I got older and as I matured. I was like, no, being gay is like it's like a strong part of me. It's like it's a part that I shouldn't be, like neglecting. And so
Yeah.
now it's like my whole life has been fighting against stream and I've enjoyed it. And I'm happy that I've got to this point because the fighting against the stream is like what's got me here, you know?
Mhm. And did fighting against the stream, right? Did that have something to do with you wanting to be the host and the mentor for the Snapchat series coming out? Can you tell us a little bit about the show?
Absolutely. So I have a Snapchat show. I'm one of the hosts of Coming Out. It's a Snapchat original. And
Woo!
the journey about me kind of helping six younger
Mhm.
individuals to kind of realize and come out to whoever they want to come out to, whether it's your grandma,
Yeah.
whether it's your best friend, your dad, whoever it is. And getting the reason I wanted to do the show was because I felt like my experience, being that there was so many different ebbs and flows of my own personal experience, I felt
Mhm.
like I could be someone that could be a mentor or someone that could help
Yeah.
them in their own way, Like I was like, I want them to feel like their most authentic self, their most comfortable self. But again, I have the grew up in a religious household check. I have the Latino growing up with like that is
Check.
against you card check. I wear makeup for a living. I'm a dude with a beard wearing makeup for a living. It's a very weird thing for a lot of people, and I get that. So I think that for me, there was so many different things that I felt like in my life had accumulated to get to this spot where I felt like I could help people. And like I feel like I
Yeah.
could actually give advice and help families or friends or whatever it might be, help them understand what it's like to be gay or what it's like to be pansexual or to be non-binary. All these different
Mhm.
things happen in those stories on Snapchat. There's 6 episodes. And I felt like the reason I am who I am today is because like it all happens for a reason, And I
Yeah.
think that because of the journey I've had, I was able to do the show.
And I think there's something beautiful, right? Like the struggle itself is really hard and painful, but being able to be on that other side and like being a mentor, like walking someone else through a similar journey and be like, "Oh, I felt that." I think
Yeah.
that's really amazing for you to do for these people on Snapchat and just
Mhm.
like, I feel for you and I wish it wasn't so hard and I'm here for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's kind of like one of those things where it's like it can be so hard, but it doesn't need to be your story that it was hard the entire time. There could be
Yeah.
more. There's so many more facets to it. Like it was hard for me, but I got out on the other end and it got better for me.
Mhm.
I think that's the really, really important thing is to show that it's not, especially in the media, especially like 15, 10 years ago, gay stories were always like, oh, well, they have HIV and they're gonna die. And it's like,
right?
oh my God, there's so much more to the gay experience than freaking people with HIV dying. Like, it's crazy. So now it's about showing that there's amazing stories out there and that there's
Hmm.
so much that you can accomplish. And it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bi, non-binary, whatever it might be, trans, that you can have it too. And that's
Right.
why it was so important for me to do in the show, especially because like that show has a very young audience. Like Snapchat in general has a very young audience, and like
Hmm.
we need more young kids to see themselves in different ways, and not ways that are just horrible and scary and gay bashing, but like success stories too.
Yeah. And you know what I'm getting from this, like I need to go watch this series, but like you deserve love no matter who you love, right? So I'm wondering, what do you hope viewers will get out of watching this series?
I hope that they, like I was saying, I hope that they see that there's so much more to the gay experience than what you might have seen before. There's
Yeah.
so much depth and there's so much emotion and so many amazing people that are out there that you can experience and see and just look past, even if you like have a bad experience or you might have seen something negative about someone. There's so much more to it, and that's
Hmm.
kind of what I want people to see. I want just people to see that there's more to the LGBT plus community than what the media has shown before.
Yeah.
And
Like
their
these stories
stories
are
are
beautiful.
amazing, and they're beautiful, and they're different, and they're unique, and they're hard, and they're sometimes they're easy, and it's all over the place, but you will always
Yeah.
find someone that you can resonate with, and that's kind of what I hope. I hope people can see the stories and like it resonates with them, and it maybe helps them come out in the future too.
Yeah. I love that. And, shifting gears just a little bit, right? I heard you got to hang out with President Biden and
I
Dr.
did.
Fauci.
I
Super
did.
jealous. Super jealous. Oh my
So
God.
crazy.
So you were hanging out with them, talking about the importance of vaccines, right? We want to make sure that our gente are vaccinated. It's
Yes.
safe. It's free. You can get a free ride to it through Voto Latino's program with Uber. Um, when you were using your platform to talk about vaccines, like how did that come about, right? Makeup to getting a shot?
I honestly, it was so crazy because I don't even, like, they literally the White House like emailed me, and I
Yeah.
was like, I just got an
You're
email.
like at the
What the heck?
whitehouse.com.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, why am I
Yeah.
getting emails from the White House? Like, am I in trouble? I was shook, but it was so cool because they were basically like what they wanted was influencers that had a different kind of reach, right? Let's say like
Hmm.
a beauty community for me, right? An audience of, let's say 18 to 25 is like my predominant audience, and then 25 to 30. So like this audience that people that they might not have reached with like the classic news station,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of I think what their goal was to try to find, resources to, find other audiences and other
Hmm.
groups with people who are supportive of the vaccine or someone who people that are supportive of science you know
Science is real.
science.
Hey, y'all.
So that's kind of how it came to be. And they were like, we would love to do like a video where we do like a couple questions with the president and with Dr. Fauci. And I was like, I am so down. Like I was gagged. Like I
Yeah.
was
You're
so
like,
shook.
ask me twice.
I'm
What?
like, why? And then so like when he even said my name, he's like, hi Manny. I was like, well, you know me. Like I was so shook. I was like, why do you know me?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it was one of like the coolest moments I've ever had in my entire life. Especially, getting to support someone and something that I believe in, and like
Hmm.
I believe that people should be doing, and I believe that people should be getting the vaccine. And so for me to be able to you know, say yes to doing so, like, was absolutely insane. Because I'm like, I want people to
Yeah.
get vaccinated. So the fact that I'm able to do this with the president who also says that too is like cool.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it kind of seems like you're branching out a little bit and becoming more of an activist, right? You care about these issues. You want to reach out to your
Yeah.
audience and be like, hey, y'all, let's talk about some real stuff. Are you seeing this platform like that you built as a way you can shine light on causes that you care about in addition to beauty? Like, how does that go back and
I
forth?
do. No, I think that, as I've gotten older, as I've matured, I've come to realize that, the whole saying like with power comes responsibility. I
Superman?
feel yeah,
No,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man. I'm feeling like, for me, like, it's all fun and games to blend some shadow and buy some bracelets, for sure. But like,
Yeah.
there's so much more to the world than just that. And like, I can do that and I can have fun and I can shoot the shit and we can do YouTube video, we can do tutorial and hell yeah. But there are so much more things happening that I feel like it's my job as someone who does have an audience to
Hmm.
educate and like want to propel forward. For example, even like everything going on with Texas right now with the abortion situation happening. It's like
Yeah.
for me, people like I was speaking out about it and I was like, well, I feel like women deserve the choice to choose what they want to do with their own bodies. Whatever that
Hmm.
is
Preach.
it's their own, right? I don't believe that anyone
Yeah.
should tell them what to do with their bodies, especially men. Baby, what the fuck are men telling girls to do? Like, what are you telling women to do?
Governor Abbott, what?
Like, it doesn't make sense. So it's like things like that. Like, I think that speaking out about things, and being an advocate for things that I believe in is super, super important. And just more, and so educating other people in case they don't know. Because,
Hmm.
for me, like, sometimes I don't know all the answers and I'll have to look it up and then I'll be able to talk about it. But it just like I think it's important to be able to help other people become educated on certain topics so that they're able to make the best decisions that they can moving forward.
Definitely. And as someone who like works in this field day in, day out, right? Like I see a lot of people who care about things,
Mhm.
but at the same time they feel like they can't speak out about it or get involved because they don't have all the information. They don't know everything about the issue. And it's like
Yes.
you care about this, you'll learn as you go and like you'll bring more people to it because they see that you care and
I
your friends
think
and family will start to learn about it too.
I think it's like at the end of the day, if you care and if you're trying to put your best foot forward and you're coming from a place of, I believe that intention is so strong. Intention for me is like
Hmm.
more than action. I think that intention is all about what you what you're putting your attention into and doing something is so important. And like if you have an intention of good, then at the end of the day, I think people can see that and they can feel that.
Yeah.
And even if they're not fully educated, right? Even if you say the wrong thing, but you had a good intention, I'm much more like lenient to be like, okay, like I totally understand. At least you meant
Yeah.
it in a positive way. Whereas if you're saying something like nice, but you have really bad intention, it's like, did you
Right.
really say it nice? Or are you just trying to trick me? So for me, I think intention is super, super important. So I think that as long as you have a good intention and you want to better yourself and better the lives of others around you, what more can you ask for?
Yeah. And so, I think you're at this really amazing place in your life, right? Where like people look up to you and you've been able to build this amazing brand and build this audience and this community where people really enjoy and they feel like they can come watch your videos, spend some time on themselves, like do some self-care. So with all the young people watching Power Summit, right, the youths, what advice would you give them about, finding their passion and pursuing it, even if it's scary or if it's like swimming upstream?
I think that when it comes to pursuing passion, I think that you just got to go for it. And I think that it's all about finding your tribe, finding people
Yeah.
around you that like the same thing that you like and like you're passionate about it. Like, for example, me and my close friends are all in the beauty influencer world, right? They're all influencers
Hmm.
because that was something that I was passionate about was beauty. And so I found them, I found my tribe, and they helped push me and motivated me to move forward with my own
Yeah.
personal dreams. So I think it's really important to seek out what you want. You'll always find what you seek. I believe that if you're looking for it, you're gonna find it. So
Hmm.
if you're looking, let's say if your passion is to be a firefighter, let's say, I don't know.
I'm
Um,
gonna go find fires.
what?
I'm just kidding. I said I'm gonna go find some fires.
Exactly. No. So yeah, exactly. So you're probably going to, maybe go to a fire station and ask some questions. You're probably going to join some Facebook groups of firefighters. You're probably going to follow some Twitter accounts. Like, I think it's really important to, you know, pick these avenues and like trying to find out the most information you can and make friends through that. And it'll help
Yeah.
you and push you forward.
Right. Isn't the Spanish saying like, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are?
Okay, yes. What is that saying in Spanish though? I've heard this. How do you say it?
Oh,
Oh,
you're putting me on the spot. I feel like I'm gonna
bro,
mess it
I'm like
up.
the
I'll come
worst.
back to you on that.
Okay. I'm the worst. But yeah,
But
that's exactly what it is. Like that's the exact same thing.
awesome. And so, right, like that advice. But one thing here. So, what advice do you have to someone if they want to be the next Manny MUA?
Ooh, next up. Okay,
Ooh.
what my advice is don't strive to be me. I know that sounds
Hmm.
weird. Strive to be like the most elite version of yourself. And it's like I know it's like sounds funny, but a lot of people they want to emulate who they see because it's like, oh well, they're successful, so I'm just gonna be just like them.
Yeah.
Like the important thing is that like that person's already taken because that's them who they are. You know, it's really
Right.
important to be able to be yourself and live your most authentic version of who you are. And I think that's what's gonna resonate with people. So my advice is like, don't be like me. Be like you. Be like the most elite
Yeah.
version. For me, when I was, growing in the space, having followers that looked up to me made me want to be better. So
Hmm.
I became better, if that makes sense. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to be a better version of myself for my audience because they look up to me. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be someone that they should look up to or like they could. So for me,
Right.
it's all about being your most authentic version of yourself. And people can see that. They can sniff through that shit a mile away. Like if you're not being authentically you and you're trying to be someone else, girl,
It's not real.
it's not
Yeah.
real, and people can see it. They can sniff it out. So I think that the most important thing is to truly just live your most authentic self, live your most authentic life. And obviously, you can take things here and there, and like we all do. Like I like to take from drag queen culture. I'd be like, yes, God, yes, queen, yes, mama. I'm like
Yeah.
that too, and like pick and choose, but still be yourself. I think it's
Hmm.
really important to like you can take little facets and things you're inspired by, but at the end of the day, you need to be you.
For sure. And so I know we're coming up on time, and I want to do something that's really fun and exciting. We're going to do lightning round questions. So
Okay,
tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, your favorite color.
Black to wear. To wear.
Sure.
To wear.
Your favorite time of day.
Nighttime.
Black. Okay. Your favorite cereal.
Oh my god, my favorite cereal.
What's your favorite cereal?
Oh my god. I would say like the Special K with like the strawberries in it. I know that's so
What?
weird. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? You're thinking Lucky Charms. Like, you're thinking I'm not like Lucky Charms, the regular
Yeah.
cereal.
Okay.
No, yeah, I like the Special K.
Okay, you can keep your box. I'll have my box of Lucky Charms. What is your favorite product from Lunar Beauty?
Oh my god, my favorite product from Lunar Beauty probably my glosses.
Ooh, okay, you'll have to show me some time.
Yeah.
Your favorite product from a different beauty brand? Scandalous.
Oh my god, I see. Like, I can't even answer that question. I literally
Okay,
can't.
that's
Because
fine.
like, people always ask me that, they're like, "Well, what's your favorite product?" And I'm like, "In what category?" Like,
Okay, well, you tripped me up. Okay,
like,
we're just
like
gonna
right
skip that
here,
one.
skip.
Okay, skip. What song can you listen to over and over?
Oh my god, I can listen to the whole "Courage to Grow" album by Revolution over and over again.
Okay, we're gonna have you sing that if we have some time
No,
later.
please, I'm not a singer.
Who's the person you most want to meet?
I want to meet Rihanna.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Okay.
please.
Tell me how it is. What is your biggest life lesson so far?
My biggest life lesson so far is if you can't love yourself, how the hell you can love somebody else?
Oh, so good. Okay. So, Manny, thank you so much for being here
Of
and for being an
course.
inspiration to so many. Folks, if you'd like some more information about Manny and Lunar Beauty, please visit lunarbeauty.com. Manny, before we go, any last words?
I, I mean, honestly, just thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was so much fun. You're so easy to talk to. I didn't even feel like it was an interview. It was just like shooting the shit with my bestie. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk later. Bye, y'all.
Sounds good. Bye, you guys.